I'm hearing some craziness. 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 Check out what I wrote. Check 1 2 1 2. Today it outsells classical music. Used to the pioneers, but I gotta try and clear. Audio check. Audio check, audio check, ladies and gentlemen. Audio check. Pedro and I will be with you shortly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming on here in just a minute, getting the music going, getting the server serving, the electrons moving up to a higher orbit to go from our cameras to your video screens. Pedro and I will be with you in just a moment. Pedro. Oh, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show here on this Friday, June 13th. That's right, it's Friday the 13th. The markets are taking in stride.
Yes, they are.
And I just can't wait to hear his theory about Friday the 13th. But none other than my co-host, Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. Welcome to the show, Pedro Garcia.
Hey, man, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you.
Doing well, doing well. Have you got your car issues sorted out, or was it another day of doom, gloom, and insurance carriers?
It's still... You know what, though? I'm thankful that it was supposed to be kind of cloudy today, and I'm glad the sun is shining, so I can go for a nice little good walk and get a lot of vitamin D. Keeps my spirit up.
I thought you were going to say you go for a good drive because either you bought a convertible or the car that you bought, you just couldn't afford a top. So, you know, give me that car. It's the cheapest one. Like, dude, it has no top. It's all right. It's summer. I'll wreck it by the time the fall comes.
Get out of here. Get out of here. This crazy man talking about this.
You know what I don't have, Pedro? I didn't prepare the great comment machine. So while I'm doing that, why don't you tell everyone what they need to do here?
Yeah, guys, if you could just do us a quick favor, especially those guys over there on Rumble, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button. When you hit that share button, do just a couple extra steps here. Just go through, click on whatever platform you've shared it, go into incognito, and just click on it. Or what you can do is just copy the link and then open that link up incognito in an app, and it really helps out the algorithm. And it sends people to us, and then we can give them the great content that you all enjoy. So that really help us. Also, if you could put a little comment in the comment section by simply telling us where you're coming from or where you would like to be. Now, everybody knows that I would either love to be on the beaches of San Diego without any of the riots, or good old Santorina, one of those.
Right, one of those Greek islands.
Yeah.
You could probably make up any name and you'll be right.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually had a friend of mine who went out there, and I was like, dang, that just makes my heart break, man. But hey, one time I'll own a little villa out there and chill, fly out there and just be me, in my Speedo.
That's what I wasn't expecting. Oh man, the scammers now, Pedro, the scammers now, they drop those comments in the bots drop the comments in the comment, not in the live chat, because they try to get people to load up wallets and then interact with a smart contract that's compromised. So everybody in the comment machine, if you're I'm not going to delete it right now, but I will in a little bit. If you're watching this live and you're watching it on the playback, the comment will be deleted in the live chat. But in the comment section, there'll be one of these things. Hey, I've got money stuck in a wallet, and here are the 12 words to load up the wallet. Can you help me out? Those are a scam. And even Striking Jr. called me once and said, hey, Dad, I think I've got something interesting here. I'm like, in what? He said, in crypto. I'm like, scam. He didn't even tell me what it was. He's like, no, Dad, it's a comments about a wallet and 12. I'm like, yeah, scam. Check every one of our videos. And he's like, oh yeah, they're all over the place. So don't be fooled. If you're new into crypto, don't be fooled by these things. But now they're in chat. They're in chat. So I'm gonna leave that up for right now. But then in a little bit, I will ban and report that comment. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show today. It's June, as I said, it's June 13th. What another crazy end of a week, Pedro.
My friends over at
Oops. We have a couple of things going on in the world right now. First of all, we have riots in the U.S., which are arguably, we'll say, instigated by people into things that they are to make it appear larger than it is. Including a link today to the Chinese Communist Party. Did you see that article, Pedro? That was very disturbing.
No,
and they didn't come out. I mean, the FBI reports that the CCP is interfering with this stuff and promoting it, and that's not unusual. Anything that's culturally set.
Hello?
Check 1212, Pedro.
All I heard was the CCP did something, and
your internet connection is is giving me the red signal right now. Can
you just say that to me? Because I didn't catch that news source, and I want to catch what you just said.
The FBI talked about how the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, was interfering in these riots and helping promote them by using troll bots and other types of things. And I think even by hiring instigators or something like that. I don't know if that's in person or online. This is nothing new. The CCP, any cultural event, they try to upset, and so do the Russians. So that's going on here.
We also do it as well. Make sure we give.
No.
We do the same.
We've never overthrown any government in the Central America, South America, Africa.
Now that we're experiencing it, and I want you guys to be understanding that. Look, China is out there buying property here in America.
Right.
We can
talk about China all we want, but I'm still got a lot of stuff to talk about here.
yeah, definitely.
So we got riots going up here in the U.S., and we have war going on in the Middle East. We had an attack, as everybody in the planet knows. Israel took 100 to 200 of their planes, F-35s, F-15s, F-16s, and flew across the Jordanian desert and Iraq, and went into Tehran and blowed them up. And Pedro, it was very interesting because this morning I was watching the news, and let me rephrase that. I'm reading CNN's website. Times I hate CNN, but I read their stuff just to get the other side.
Both ends. You got to get both ends.
And also in war, they have good coverage. They've always had good coverage for breaking war type stuff. I went I went to them to see what was going on. And first story in the feed said Israel attacks, yada, 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 and it shows houses blown up, apartment buildings and all that. And the article says, shows residential areas attacked, and the slant in the article was, hey, Israel's bombing regular people. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Israel has smart bombs. They shouldn't be. And it was clear that the building had been blown up. It wasn't photoshopped. It was otherwise the best AI ever. But and then the very next article on the CNN scroll said Israel has taken out the top 3 commanders in the military side of the government, along with some minions and nuclear scientists. And they took them out by sending missiles through their house in the middle of the night. And so in one article, you saw that they were questioning why they're doing residential areas in the same news organization. It's not like they're separate groups. And then the next article was talking about how they took out the top people at home while they're sleeping. And so I found that interesting. Because without those figures, it's going to be tough to have a retaliatory strike that's organized. Israel also showed that they can get around Iran's air defenses and hit their nuclear plants. But because of the rhetoric that comes out of Iran, and as you well know, the government of Iran calls for the destruction of Israel, and they're going to respond. So we're going to have more in the future at some point. They launched a bunch of drones back. Apparently none of them made it to Israel, or one landed in a desert or something. But they'll have some kind of attack, either a terrorist attack, or they'll fund the Hezbollah or Hamas or somebody, blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking about this because it leads to my next thing on my list, and that is Bitcoin. As we all know, we saw the market dump off yesterday, just out of nowhere. And I shouldn't say out of nowhere, we've talked about the market coming down there anyway, But as soon as the bombs, you've been on mute for a while, just so you know.
Oh, I'm so sorry, dude. I was saying, as I have a hard time speaking here, one of the things I wanted to say is you went long, and I was saying I don't think you should keep going long. Take your profit and get out, because we've got a lot of moving averages sitting right up in this area here.
Right, I don't have your screen up yet, just so you know.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Right.
Keep going. We'll go over
But we've been talking about the big liquidity area that Bitcoin now has come to, but it always helps to have something kick it off. And nothing like a bunch of missiles through people's apartments and nuclear plants exploding, or at least the centrifuge is getting taken out of the process, whatever, to kick that off. And it kicked it off big time. And so the news was like, oh, woe is us, the market's down, oh my God, NASDAQ lost this many points. Yet we're sitting here like this. It's money printer time! And that's exactly what happened. The markets dipped a lot yesterday. They raced down, and then it stabilized. And then people said, hey, there's a big sell-off. We're all sitting on cash. What are we going to do with that, Pedro? Buy! And they pushed the market back up today. That's all I can tell you about Bitcoin. The pricing, Pedro will go into a little bit. But what I'm telling you is that in times of war and all that, if you're a trader, which I am not, I'm a novice exploring the avenue of being a trader, volatility is good because you make money in volatility. If the market just stays like this the whole time and barely moves, it's very difficult to make money on tiny little spreads like this. You have to make millions and millions of trades. Or you can make one big trade and make your whole month's quota when there's volatility, as long as you're on the right side of it. So anyway, that was the topic of the thumbnail here today. Wait, did I make it the thumbnail? Nope, I just put the hot girl in the Friday market update. Pedro, would you believe it or not, is that when we you're on mute, but we get better views when I make random AI generated thumbnails that include a hot girl with Bitcoin on her. Even Mrs. Striking is like, what's up with the difference in your thumbnails? And I'm like, and I just pointed to the list. High views, high views, high views, low views. Yesterday was an example. I did the old chart and the dude looking at the chart. Our views were lower yesterday. Anyway,
When Pixie was on, did we not get over almost 400 views because we had a female on?
Yeah, but just the thumbnail. I mean, they don't even know who's on your show. They just like, oh, hot thumbnail.
Dude, guys are guys, man.
I mean,
look, and 90% of crypto is men. I mean, I would say 95% of crypto is men. When you go to these Twitter events, right, and you hear them and I hate to say it, but what's up, Mikey? It's good to see you, brother.
So, Mr. Manitoba, how about them Oilers last night pulling it out? They're down 0-3. All of a sudden, it's 1-3, 2-3, 3-3 overtime. Then it's victory for the Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I was paying attention to much hockey, but when you're in Canada, you can't avoid it. But thank you. Also, Mike posted the Oilers video to the ode to the Oilers in our Telegram room. But I think out of respect, he also posted something for when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup back in 2011. Of which I remember where I was exactly. Because they hadn't won the Stanley Cup in 40 years or something like that. The old guy that owned the Blackhawks died. His son took over, and his son's directive to the team was, do everything opposite Dad said. And the next year, they won the Stanley Cup.
Well,
how would you like that? Your legacy is that your son said, do everything opposite Dad did, and they won the Stanley Cup. I was driving my semi-truck, picking up steel at a steel plant. And I remember it because I'm cheering as I heard the Hawks win, Hawks win. And I'm driving down the streets of Chicago on the way back to the factory. And a bunch of cops got some dudes up on the hood like this. And they're looking at me. I'm honking the horn. And the cops look at me and I'm like, Hawks win, Hawks win. And they're like, ah! And the dude's on banging his head on the hood like, yay.
Bro, us Americans, there are a lot of things that we disagree with, but there are a lot more things that bring us together. I
know, it was really funny, dude. Like his head's on the police car. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah, twins in cuffs. Yeah.
They look at each other and they're like, all right, yeah, they let him. And then once it's over, they're like, all right, bam.
If any of our viewers are from Chicago, I was at the old Central Steel processing plant on like, I don't know, 53rd Street or 79th Street, somewhere in there. I can't remember where it was. Big joint distribution center. And just came out around the corner. Not the best neighborhood. Police had some dudes up on the hood right when the Hawks won. I'm guessing those guys got a break because they showed the entire city partying.
Love it.
Pedro Garcia comments, "What's up, guys? Good to have all of you. Thank you, everybody on Rumble, for watching. We really appreciate it, as always. Share it with one of your friends to bring them onto Rumble. If we get enough people watching on Rumble, we get to read ads. And we're rolling now, Pedro. We're rolling. Yeah. We're rolling. 2 out of the 3 last shows, we've been able to read ads.
Want to say thank you,
or maybe 2 out of 4, whatever. But we now have earned. I think we're over $3.
Oh, what is that? 25 cents an hour now?
Yeah. I mean, there is a better career on lettuce prep at Wendy's. Rather than being a famous celebrity YouTube star.
It was funny. I remember when we went to, I've gone to some places and people actually know you. People know Striking. You are a kind of a celebrity, legitly. Like people are like, oh.
Pay me, bitches.
Yeah, man. One day
we'll need security. We'll need bodyguards. We'll have to come out the back entrance, and the black Suburban will have to, paparazzi be like, who's he with? He's with Pedro. Oh my God, he's with Pedro. And we'll be like this. Huh? What? We'll be looking around for like some supermodel or Harry and Meghan. Like what? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you watching, it helps us out to share. Go ahead.
I'm gonna cut in. I will be looking for supermodels. He will be with his supermodel wife.
There you go.
Better set.
No, I meant I didn't mean we're looking for supermodels like wink wink. I meant like looking around like the paparazzi were taking their pictures and we got in the way.
Oh, we're seeing that where are the supermodels that they're like.
Right. Yeah, right.
Make sure we clarify that.
Let's be clear about that. I don't want to be sleeping on no couch tonight.
Anyways, so it was really interesting to sit there. Let's check out Bitcoin here real quick. Again, guys, please hit the share button. We're about to go into the details here and check it out. So, Tom, remember, let's not forget that Tom went long yesterday and caught this push up from the morning to about right up in here. And I think you made $20, $30 or something like that, which was cool. Real money. So he caught it from here to up here, and I said, listen, I don't like this area that we're coming up to. There are a lot, and I talked about lining up lines, right? My job is to line up lines. And so we had a lot of moving averages sitting at these levels. In addition to that, we also had kind of a time change that moved things over, saying, hey, we're looking like we probably are going to go down. Plus, we were in an area of supply for the day. And so I sat there and said, you know what? I would expect that we're going to see a sell-off here because the lines say that we're going to. And so that was this area right here, right? That was, I said, we have...
you can scoot that over just a bit.
Oh, thank you. This area, we had the 8-period moving average, and I talked about that. And we had the crossover. Then we also had the 2-hour here, and I pointed this out here. I said, guys, look, I just don't think we're going to continue up. I think we're going to come down, probably down to these lower. I said probably come down to this area right here, that 106, not 6-9 area, and then continue it down. And then from there, we also went into kind of the execution of it, what I want you guys to do it. So I said, all right, you can see here at that time, let me go to the 5-minute here so we can kind of go into detail. Tom at the start decided he was going to get back in that long around right here.
Yep.
And so he decided to go long back here, and I said, bud, I think you should get out. I think we're showing weakness.
Yeah, it was right at that 200. It bounced off it. I said, done.
Yep. So we saw it come down, and then from there I said, because there's a lot of lines on all the time frames. Remember I talked about yesterday in regards to our trading plan that you are developing, right? To succinctly do the same thing over and over and over and over and over, the same way, looking at your charts the same way, so that you can create a pattern. And then when you need to change it to get better, you actually have a way to look back and go, okay, this is what I did before, or that's the other way. This is the way I did before, right? And now I'm seeing progression, and every time you make small changes, you can get better at it, right? And boom, 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 boom. And so that's the point of why I talk and the way I say things, so that you can go through, you can chronicleize. Anyways, so that you can sit there systematically go through and go, okay, I started here and I'm progressing here. And in writing down your trades and detail, why you got in trades, your targets, why you put your stops the way, there you go, pull it up, my friend, I love it. That is what allows you to keep getting better and to stay in a very systematic way, so that you can keep getting better and better and better and better. And then from there, you'll be like, I don't need Pedro. I'm going to tell Pedro what's up. And I'll be like, go ahead, brother, preach.
Man, that shit's going down right now. What, BTC? No.
Hopefully not your paycheck.
Right.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, though, is this. So it was really interesting to see us come off here. We were hitting a bunch of lines. I saw a confluence. So everybody coming together as we're pushing up. There wasn't a lot of demand wicks as we're pushing up. Now, let me go ahead and pull up here real quick, because we've been using the Bitcoin chart off of the crypto.com chart, because I feel like there's just a lot more. And give me 1 second.
Ladies and gentlemen, while Pedro's burping or doing whatever, make sure you like and share everything here. Do us a favor. We're at 143 followers on Rumble. We need to get to 200. And if you're not following us, please do. And if you could bring someone in and follow us, we'd really appreciate it. We'd love to give you a whole bunch of money and gifts for doing so, but we don't have a whole bunch of money and gifts to give out. All we have is our word and our advice. Well, Pedro's advice and my colorful commentary. Bringing someone in really helps us along a lot, and we're going to beg for it over and over. So you might as well do it, otherwise you're going to keep hearing us.
Honestly, my goal this year is to see us one day hit a $5,000 view stream day. Last year, my goal was to see one day where we hit 1,000, and we were able to do it. This year, my hope is that my goal is that we can hit a day where we hit 5,000 views on pretty much all of our platforms that we're trying to build up. So that's my goal. And then to see us steadily around 350 to 500 views a day on just every single one. So we can do that. That would be great. All right, guys. So let's go ahead real quick and check this out. So we saw here as the market was coming up, it was showing weakness. And so I sat there and I said, guys, I want to make sure that we go short here. And these are some of the places I expect. Come back down and tap these areas of liquidity. Now, because of the war, did you notice that this area of liquidity where these buyers are sitting, they were absorbed and the market shot down even more? We saw an increase in volume even more so at these levels here, in particular here. And the reason why we saw that is because there were stops that were being hit here. And because of the war news that was actually being created, I hate to use the word create. I hate using that because
reported?
It's reported, but part of me sometimes thinks it's other
made up
situations. No, not made up. It's just
let's go on with the BTC.
Yeah. Anyways, so you can sit there and see that there was liquidity here. So you saw the increase of absorption of that area because there were more orders because of the liquidity area here. So you can see we came down, boom, we absorbed. See the volume step in down here. It's pretty clear as we're absorbing. When you see something
you're behind
like
the
this,
pricing graphic.
thank you. Let me make sure that, okay, here we are. You can see here that as it came down into our areas here, you can see that the absorption picked up, and you can see the volume stepped up here. And so as we came down, we followed that 8-period moving average. Then we saw volume starting to step in here. And then as the new day stepped in, you saw that they created that wick. So the new day was around here for the CME, right? It's always the, let me make sure that this is on Los Angeles. So it's going to be 3 o'clock. It'd be 1500. So here you go. So no, not 15, Thursday. Right here. Let me make sure I get this correct. New York. All right. So it's going to be 20. So you
While
see
you're doing
right
that,
here,
welcome Rumblers. Got a message up here just for you. Look at that. It's me pointing. In fact, I'm wearing the same shirt.
So you can see here as the market came in, here's the day right here. We started it, we came down, we shot through the liquidity. As it came down, it was creating the demand wick here. And it hit this area here. Now, this is one of the charts that I look at because it kind of gives me, we all know that crypto.com has a lot of orders. And so I like using them. You can also use Binance. And then I use the USD Bitwise chart as well to kind of give me another view of Bitcoin. But you can see as it came down, it created that demand wick. As we were coming down, putting in lower highs and lower lows, you can see and again, I go, like I said, I have multiple time frames, right? So I'm always looking to see where are we creating that time frame to go back up? Where is this actually being played at? And so you can see, oh, here we are. Okay, as we sold off, you can see I'm like going, okay, where is it at? Where is it at? Boom. And so it looked like it was roughly around that 30-minute chart for me where I started seeing the actual trend starting to kick in. And so then you would go to your hour for me, and that was there's that, okay, here we go, pop, we're looking to go up. So you can see we created this low, and then we created a lower low or a higher low, and then a higher low, higher high, and now higher high. Now, depending on where this actually happens and what's going to correlate with that, I would assume that around these areas here, that the liquidity will go up to an area of liquidity, and I would expect, again, some more news to kick in. So for me, as I'm looking at this, I would, here we go, boom, here we are. So that would be that. So that would be, there we go.
As usual, opinions on this show are not financial advice. Everything is an opinion here, or education, or entertainment. And of course, none of what I or Pedro say represents the viewpoints of DYOR Media Network. This is an educational video and not financial advice. Always get your own financial advice from a licensed provider in whatever jurisdiction you're at. And if you're in a jurisdiction that doesn't have any licensing at all, good luck. Dude, so like I'm in Ghana. Everyone can give financial advice. I'm like, well, we're not.
Yes. So this area here, I'm looking for a potential pullback at this level. Again, this is a
pull back or a pull up?
A pull up. Pull back is either way, whether it's
right. I know, but I was just
down or up. I know, good humor. But so unless you're 75 and above, I call it a pullback. If you're 75 and well, 3 and below and 75 and above is a pull up. Bad joke. All right, I was trying to keep going. I just killed it. You're like, this guy.
Suddenly, our show is sponsored by Pull-Ups. Ladies and gentlemen, Depends Garments for elderly people. Pull-Ups. That's going to be the next campaign that shows up when we get enough viewers.
Right. really funny. It's funny. So you guys can see the pull as we're pulling back up. This is the area that I'm looking for it to sell off on. Now, one of the things I want to see as we're coming here is a lack of buyer wicks and more of an increase in seller wicks as we're pushing up. Something similar to how we saw the sell-off here. You can see there was a lack of buyer wicks as we saw the sell-off come in. So that's something that we want to see. That's what we want to see correlated there as it starts to move forward. And so you'll be able to kind of play in conjunction with this. So when it pulls back up, we want to see without a lot of buyer wicks as it's going in, and we want to see volume stepping down so that you can take part. Now, one of the things I'm looking at is now 200-day or 200 period.
Wait, hold on. I didn't hear something correctly. You said in that you want volume to go down.
Yes, because I want to short again. Yes.
Okay, from what I think I missed the correlation between when do you want the volume to start going down? Where is price action?
Kind of right now. So what we want to see, and we're kind of seeing that right now. We're seeing buyers step off, as you can see, as we're coming into. Because remember, let me phrase this, and I actually forgot to mention this. Okay, we are at the end of the week. All right, guys, we're at the end of the week. So we're seeing people take profit here. Right. So yesterday I talked about kind of be ready for people to take profit. That's why I said potentially we could see that area that we talked about, kind of that area for people to start taking profit for the week. Right. Because we had bounced off of here for the weekly chart. We shot up. It was all the way kind of up in this area here. And we started selling off. And this area was all-time high. And I said, into next week, we could see an all-time high, but they're going to sell off of the previous all-time high, which was this area here that we talked about. So we didn't get exactly to, I think we were like 5 points away, 5 to 10 points away before we did it. And then it did sell. Never got fully up to our area, but it got close. And then so we saw the sell-off here. And so in that same junction, I said, expect a pullback for the week. They're going to take profit into Friday and Saturday. Okay. So I would expect to kind of sell off. I didn't think we'd see such a hard sell from this area.
Well, like we said, putting missiles through windows aids in those types of things.
Yeah, that's an understatement. And then, so we saw that. All right, so I wanted to set that up so you understand what I'm about to talk about next. This is what we talked about yesterday. If you want to catch that, please go watch the interview, or not interview, the show from yesterday, so you can understand what I'm talking about here. And then now for today, right? So we had the sell-off, came up, came down to our area. I thought we were going to come down into, I thought we were going to bounce back off of the 8 and 20 here. But we obviously shot through because World War III potentially, and then came down. And so we bounced off the 50 period moving average. So if you look at the weekly chart starts right here. Right, here we go, Sunday right here. So you can see we're at a big doji for the week, i.e. right here. So you can see it's a big wick here and a fairly big wick here. So we bounced off the 8 period moving average. Now, I would expect us to continue down into these lower areas, like I talked about, that 100 and potentially the lower areas here that I've talked about now.
The high 90s, or in the 90s, anywhere in the 90s.
Yeah, anywhere in the, like we talked about that, 94, 93. Obviously, I'm on the crypto.com chart here, so I don't have a mark. This one's more for liquidity for me, so we can sit there and talk about liquidity, and that's what I use this chart for. But the other one is primarily my demand zones that I like to keep, because I don't want to, somebody said it's too confusing, and it's the guy below me here. So, so I said that, I was like, how do I?
In my defense, there were 342 lines on it.
Rightly said, too. Rightly said. So I was like, how do I rectify that? So I said, you know what, I can do this, and I think it's been a good switch for you guys. So in the same sense, I'm now expecting it to come down to that, like I said, the low 90s area for this week. So maybe the weekend we'll see another situation. We'll see some situations going on.
76 Norton in the house on Rumble. Thank you very much for watching us.
What's up, my dog? It's good to have you. Hey, 76, if you could do us a favor, man, if you could share us and then go incognito to go through and click on those, that would really help us out immensely. Would really appreciate that if you could. So, and what's up, my brother? What's up, my brother? If I could. Okay, so you can see here, I'm expecting us to kind of play around this area here. And again, this is the monthly area of our moving average here. May not hit that, okay? But I think they are going to try to maximize it selling off as much as possible so that into this next month coming up, we can see a big rally coming in from Bitcoin. And so we'll see what's up. But I like that 90,000, 94, 95 area, which is basically playing off the monthly chart. Now into next week, I think we'll probably end somewhere around these lower areas this weekend, which is going to be that 103, potentially even that 102 area where we're just going to sit right on top of the moving average. And then into this weekend, I would expect to see us come down, tap that area right here. And then, so I don't create a phallic symbol, which I've been known to do, not meaning to. We'll see it go up.
Took a sip of my coffee and nearly shot it up my nose with the phallic symbol comment.
So
it's a classic movie scene. I'm like this. And phallic symbol. I'll have what she's having.
Spaceballs, man, greatest. If y'all young kids haven't seen Spaceballs, y'all need to go look it up. It's one
of the greatest movies of all time.
One of them.
What's your name, sir? Asshole, sir. What's your rank? Major. So you're a major asshole. Yes, sir. Who are all these people? They're all related to me, sir. Oh, so all assholes too? Yes, I'm surrounded by assholes. Home the desert. You guys find anything? Nope. You guys find anything? Nope. How about you guys? We ain't found shit.
And they have giant combs, or
giant ace combs, and then the two African American gentlemen have a pick.
Got the pick, dude. It was so, bro.
This is a Mel Brooks movie. One of the best comedians of all time, Mel Brooks.
Dude, shout out, pour one out for the homie, for Mr. Mel Brooks. Gone too early.
Pedro, we've got 25 viewers here across the board, and we should have a campaign to read, and we got nothing.
Man, break them off.
Come on, Rumble, let us have it here.
Come on,
dude. Let us make those money, those big time monies. Anyway, back to your phallic symbols.
Yeah. So this is what I'm expecting in for the next week. So we'll do it here real quick. I would expect over the weekend, kind of open up right here, come down, boom. And then into Monday or Tuesday, maybe start to come back up and then see it go up. This is what I'm expecting to see. It's kind of setting up for that way. You can see here that this big push up is where they're having, they've created, they put a lot of positions in. But also more important, I want to bring this up, they're also creating a position right here. So this consolidation area here for the last month, maybe month and a half, is really a nice little area for them to kind of pick up to the next leg up, where I hope we can get to like that 120, 140, potentially 160 area. And again, like we'll see. I think we are on the brink of the next like bull run. We'll see a big push up when it comes to a lot of the altcoins. But that's ultimately what I'm expecting coming in, is just to see this again. Bring this up where we come down. We're going to open up right here. We'll come down, hit this here, and then expect it to go up, pull back a little, and then boop, boop. That's it. Come on. Come right. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Let's go.
Mikester says they are making a new Spaceballs movie out sometime in 2022. There's no way. There's just no way.
Yes.
I hope it's not like Caddyshack 2 or something stupid like that.
You're right.
Or Blues Brothers 2000, which was just dumb. How can you? Unless Mel Brooks write it with that genius comedic mind of his.
Brilliant. It was so funny. So funny, dude. He was so good.
And John Candy, he plays a Mog, half man, half dog. I'm a Mog.
Yeah.
And then the princess is yelling at him. So you're a princess, huh? Yeah. Where are you from? Druid. And he's like, oh, great. A Druish princess.
Dude, John Candy, that's another one, man.
Oh, man.
He was so good.
A lot of movies just, it's
John
just nothing
Candy.
but lines.
Who was the other one? Oh, what's the other man? Dan Aykroyd. Dude, he's in those guys.
He wasn't in Spaceballs.
No. But I'm just thinking, like him in Ghostbusters, the lines that he would come out with, like there were such not Three Amigos.
Mel is still alive. Mel Brooks is still alive.
I thought he passed.
Well, I know his good friend Carl Reiner died.
I could be wrong. I hope.
You know what? I met Mel in an airport lounge long ago, at least 10 years ago, and he was old then.
Maybe I'm wrong. I hope he's still alive. Dude, imagine if he was still alive and he was a part of the sequel. Dude, look it up. You got to find out for me. You got to see if he's still alive. See if he's a part of the actual, the second Spaceballs. Spaceballs. That would be absolutely epic, dude. If we could just do another, like come out of retirement and have fun there, that would be dope. That'd be freaking awesome. All right, so
a sequel to the '87 comedy Spaceballs, titled Spaceballs 2, has been officially announced by director Mel Brooks. He's alive. The film is set for a 2027 theatrical release. Will feature the return of original cast members such as Bill Pullman, Rick Moranis, and Daphne Zuniga, along with new additions like Louis Pullman and Jai blah blah blah. Mel Brooks, who is 98 years old, will reprise his role as Yogurt, a parody of Yoda from Star Wars.
Dude, it's so awesome, dude. I'm so happy about it. I am so stoked. I am going to probably see that too. Well, we'll see how good I think it's still going to be, bro. I mean, he is 90 plus. Think how, and he's always seemed so quick. And so if he's doing a movie, bro, I would assume he is quicker than
it's Friday, ladies and gentlemen, so we got a little sideways here. But think of the cultural significance of the movie Spaceballs. I mean, just in comments like us, I understand a lot of younger people don't know the movie or understand it because even the jokes back then were a little older, but now, you know, Elon Musk took it on, and a lot of you guys that have heard about the plaid mode in Tesla, it's from this movie. We've gone plaid.
You're like, what? Yeah.
I went to warp drive, whatever it is, hit ludicrous. Oh, we're going ludicrous speed, and it's more power. We need more power, and all of a sudden, boom, it goes plaid. And he goes, "Oh my God, we've gone plaid." You know.
Yeah, it's literally from the movie. It's
from this movie we're looking at here.
We're referencing. There's a lot of stuff that a lot of
there he is. Barf the
generation
Mog
doesn't catch it. Yeah. Oh, then pizza. Who is the pizza one?
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza the Hut, dude. For Jabba the Hutt, during many of the Pizza the Hut, dude, and he dies by eating himself.
He ate himself.
All right, focus here. Mike, sir, if you could do us a favor, man, we're trying to finish off Friday really well here, and again, I feel like I'm being super rude, but if you could do us a quick favor, man, hit the share button, and then hitting it, man, if you could go into Cognito and click on that or share and then copy that link and then from there put it into an incognito mode and just pull it up on your
oh my God, this is hilarious. If you look at the screen, I got Pizza the Hut on there, and in the picture now you can actually see the guy's teeth and jaw, the actor that's playing Pizza the Hut.
Oh, you're right. I can see. Yeah, I see it.
All right, back to business, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. All right, back to business, guys. All right, let's get into it. All right, so I want to check out some stuff potentially that we could be seeing with this big push where we see market coming in. We talked about Crow hitting some supply area here. And so we can sit there today. We hit this area here of not supply, demand, and we saw a big little push here. So let's go into this play here that we talked about. So today in the evening, we can see we came down to our area here, right? Came in, took up buyers. Like I said, we don't go long until we get above that 8 period, right?
Pardon me, Pedro, you have Crow up now?
Yes, I
Chronos?
do.
All right, I got the great graphic.
This is one of the plays that we talked about. And so I said, this is the area where we can have liquidity step in. We come down. We don't get in until we start to show that we're starting to see some demand come in. And you can see here, we came down. We got above the 8 period moving average. And where do we put our stop? Put our stop right below the local low, which would be right here. We get in around here, somewhere where it's bouncing off that 8 period with some demand. You can see here, we saw demand come in right up in these levels here. Right, so you could go on here or right here, put the stop right here, which is the low, the local low, and what we're looking for a 1-to-1 ratio of where we're at. So if you got in right here at this price point right here, okay, then we're looking for a 1-to-1, which would be roughly around here, okay, so or actually probably around right here. So you're going to take off 60% of your trade, 60 to 7%, and then you're going to let either 40 or 30%, whatever you decide you want to do, and you're going to see if it allow it to run. But the key point here is that you're in the money and you're able to let your profits run. Now, one of the things I always say is, depending on what you want to do here, this is your own decision. If you want to move your stop up to break even, which is going to be right here, or you let it come and retest. That depends on what you decide you want to do. I always tell everybody, and this is just actually information that I get from my trading coach, which I think is really good, is if you're building your account, go through and take profit, right? Don't let it come back and retest your stop. Take profit as you're building your account.
Always
right?
pay the trader.
Yeah. And then from there, you know, if you get stopped out, you've made money. It's been a good trade. You made 50% on that trade. It's a good day, or 60%, right? I say 50 because you're going to deal with 5% in and out when it comes to the fee. So that's why I always say 60%. So you can always get up. And so you can see here, we saw this situation, nice little trade, nice little kind of pullback. So this is where we're sitting here. Now, I would expect to see Crow, as we're seeing the sell-off because of the circumstance, potentially can get back up to this the 09 area, or excuse me, 0939 area here is what I could expect, and or potentially get back all the way up to that 0.0968 area. So we'll see what happens.
Did that dumpage happen the same time as everything else yesterday?
Oh, absolutely.
So that Chronos chart is, you could overlay that over Bitcoin and it's really close.
Oh, it's almost exactly. I mean, this is when you would have got in. If you were to do the same, excuse me, it would be right here.
Thank you, everybody watching us on Rumble. Really appreciate it. If you could like and share this with someone else. We got to get a few more people watching us so we can have Rumble feed us the ads to read. I love doing that. And we have the most viewers ever right now, total. Not ever, but the most viewers we've had since we've started the ad campaign eligibility. And they haven't sent us one. Maybe it's Friday and the ad guys have taken the day off. Good luck with that. And anyway, while Pedro's doing that, right below you, ladies and gentlemen, there's a button that says share. I don't know where it is on your mobile phone. You might have to slide. They're changing things to slide if it's off screen on your interfaces. Hit that share button and send it to one of your friends. Send it to your mom, if you got one. If I sent it to my mom, she'd watch it. I'd say, Mom, click this, and she'd watch, and then she'd come back and say, hey, you talked about the interest rates there. What are you really talking about? You know, because my mom watches CNBC all day. So she's in it. So she's going to want to know Boeing stock, too. Boeing taking a hit with that 787 going down in India. Horrible. How about the one guy that survived?
Dude, he looked like everybody's just looking at him like, and he's just like.
Knowing India, the dude will be a god, or the Tibetan people will grab him to be the next Dalai Lama. You know, they're like,
I mean,
got thrown from a jet and lived. Full of fuel. I mean, enough fuel to fly from India to London. That's a long way. It's an 8-hour flight. That's a lot of jet fuel on a 787, and we saw the explosion, and he lived.
Man, it breaks my heart. Did you? Some of the stories, bro, I literally started tearing up. Like,
oh, it's awful.
Like
it's just one of those things where you're just, there's millions of flights all the time, and very rarely do bad things happen. And it did. And I was talking earlier about CNN, and I was throwing them shade because of their crappy reporting. On this topic too, the lead article on CNN talked about the first sentence said how the plane careened back to Earth. And then the second sentence said it was slowly sinking back to Earth. So I actually tweeted. I'm like, okay, CNN, which is it? Did it careen back to Earth? Or like in the video, did it just slowly sink back down to Earth? That's when they have AI rewriting it and didn't have a human that was an experienced editor look at it. Anyway, CNN, shame on you. Shame on you for relying on AI and not double checking it. Anyway, but it's horrible. Horrible, and as soon as it happened, the lawyers have already sued Boeing for wrongful death. Even though we have no idea. The pilot could have been like that Germanwings guy who just intentionally flew the plane into the ground because he was done with life.
He had a bad day.
That's the understatement of the month. All right.
Yeah, man. Let's move forward, guys. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to go negative here. Again, appreciate every one of you guys that are still watching us on all our platforms, especially on
Viewer Pedro Garcia says, "Goog to have all of you hurrah with us." Thank you, Pedro Garcia. Goog to have you hurrah with us.
Yes. Goog to have all of you here. And it was supposed to be, and I was quickly doing that, so it was more auto putting it in. I didn't even think. I just literally put that all in. All right, so let's go ahead and move here real quick. I want to finish up this trade here. If you guys are in this trade, be looking for it to catch it up in here. You could, like I said, you could catch it either right here at that 0.939 area if you're playing this on one of our future platforms that we've been promoting, or if you're you could also catch it up to here. So if you kept 40%, then I would tell you to take off 20% right here of your trade and then see if you can catch it all the way up here. If not, then what you want to look to is if it goes up to here, take off your 20%, right? So it's negative 20%.
We're doing math now, ladies and gentlemen.
And then here you have a couple options. You can wait to finish off your trade here and take the rest off, right? Or you can wait for if it pulls back right here, because here's your resistance level, which is now going to become support if it pushes through here. This area, you sell off the rest of your position and you kind of wait and see what you want to do. So either way, either right here, negative 20, put it here, or
either way you make money. You either took the 20% out and you go home with that, knowing that the market went against you after that, or you ride it out and you had your 20% already, and then you get another 80% out of it, or whatever the actual math works out to. But.
Yeah. So, and from this point here, when you look at it, ultimately, you still made, our risk was right here. This is the risk between here and we basically play, right? So between this level and this level, and our goal is, I always say, get your 50%. Get your 50% trade. And the way we play, these work out enough to where you're going to win much more times than you lose. These are quick little plays that you guys can take advantage of. Again, this is not financial advice, entertainment, educational purposes only here. But ultimately, I want to make sure I bring solid, real advice, trading advice that I use for myself, that I pay for with trading coaches, as well as my own development over the years. So thank you guys for hopefully you guys were able to take part of that trade. Let's also check out helium. We've talked about helium now for a while. Helium has been one of the ones that I've been kind of just dollar cost averaging in. I really like Helium. I like what they're doing. I like their geo geo trackers that they have going on. In addition to that, what they're doing when it comes to the mining systems, a lot of IoT networks are definitely still picking up that network and are still paying into the system. And so in addition to that, they also have the phone with they're also on the Solana phone there as well. So again, I just think they just have a lot of stuff going on there that it's kind of underrated. Ultimately, I think some major hedge fund is going to sit there and see that and go, this is a sleeper, and then they're just going to get in on it. They're already starting to kind of get played by a lot of these guys, not played, but starting to really get looked at. And so I just feel like it's just a matter of time before I really just kind of pick up. So these, for me personally, lower levels here I like is at this area here. You're going to potentially see a play here, right here. And let me go ahead and give you guys this play here. Boom. Again, right here, see it come in. This is, again, another liquidity play you guys can take like we talked about. Come in, tap. You want to see it get above the 8-period moving average with volume, and you should see it continue up. Again, take off 60% of your trade, 60, 70% of your trade, and then see it continue. And, you know, and see what happens from there. Again, ICE. What's up, brother? I hear you snoring. So...
When you say got played, it just
oh, gotcha.
No, I was just thinking of a guy I used to do business with. His name was Morris, and he lived in California, Los Angeles, but he was Filipino and did import-export out of the Philippines. And I said, Morris, he lived in LA. He goes, he's not from the Philippines, but he's Filipino. I said, you like to go there a lot. He goes, yeah, I have a lot of business there. And he says, he said, I like to go there because when you go there, you get laid, played, and replayed. No, wait, you get played, replayed, and I can't even remember it. It was such a funny story. So anytime someone says I got played, all I think it was my buddy Morris going back. Anyway, welcome Twitchers. There's actually 3 of you watching over there. Thank you very much. I guess there's 2. One of them is me. But anyway. Thanks for watching us over on Twitch. Oh, you're on mute, Pedro, I think.
I don't know. I keep hitting that, dude. That's just
quite the sensitive button.
Yeah, I actually got a kind of new one here, so I'm worried about the lump in the head. So I realized I probably should get a better one, so I went to. Anyways, let's keep moving forward here. So ICP, still looking at ICP. The big sell-off here I liked. I'm looking to pick up some ICP down at that $4 mark, as well as that 450 or the 470 to the 450 area. So if you guys want to be looking at places like that, this would be a good little place. Next week we will talk about a lot of these plays here that you guys. I'm going to start showing liquidity points, kind of like what I've been doing already. And so once we have the app up and running for you guys, for maybe 6 months to a year, I don't know how long, but it will be free, so you guys can go and take advantage of it, take your trades or whatever you guys want to do with it. And again, we do offer a discount with you guys on a futures or crypto futures platform that we do offer here, called Bit.
Oh wait, oh Pedro, come on! You know that's impossible for you to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you say. Go ahead, handle this. You handle this, and then I'm getting.
You don't get a discount, ladies and gentlemen. You get some free monies. If you want to learn to go long and short in the futures markets, by listening to Pedro and I talk about it, you need a place to do it. And you need an exchange to do that, and there's no better one, the one that sponsors our show. And that would be BitFi, the QR code right below me. Also, the link is also in the body of this description on every platform except X, in which if you click it, they'll give you some free monies. There's a new campaign running right now. In fact, you get more than $100 USDT. If you deposit, I think it's $250 now, they'll give you $250 USDT to trade with. Not to withdraw, but to trade with, and if you make profits with it, you can keep the profits. essentially, if you remember, in exchanges, you're trading against other people. So then essentially they're giving you their marketing money to trade with, and see if you can make some profits. Anyway, I'd bring up the graphics for that, but I don't have them. But start out, get a little QR code there, click it with your phone, download the app, create it, tell them Pedro and Striking sent you. Actually, the QR code does that, but anyway. But if you want to learn to do that, because we're going to be doing more of that stuff later. Like I said, I'm going to be getting the TradeWave app and running. I've been, because I effed off for a while, running around the US doing stuff. I put that on the back burner. Now on the front burner again. And so hopefully we'll have that out for you in this summer time frame here.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to really kind of giving you guys, I've been really thinking like how I'm going to just quickly show you guys how to do it. And so I'm looking forward to really kind of giving you guys this little things here and there for you guys so that you guys can start making some cash. And then there's going to be long-term plays that I'll put in there kind of in detail what to do, how to do it. And then you guys make that decision. You know what you want to do. Again, this is not financial advice, but this is just stuff that I'm looking at, that I'm looking to trade potentially. And so I want to give you guys those little markers of how to trade it, or not necessarily how to trade it, because I want you guys to develop your own style. You know, like my style just works for me. But giving you guys those setup. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, everyone has their own style because everyone thinks through things differently. Even if you have the same information, the same checklist, the same everything, you think things through differently. Gosh, I'm speaking like Pedro today. Can't get it out. And the reason is everyone's brains processed information differently. So everyone has a unique style. Even when you hear things, hey, copy trade us, very few people actually copy trade the person that they're copying well, because they do things either slightly different. They have different hours in their life, which they're up. Timing is everything. As Pedro says, entry point, entry point, entry point. And if you miss sometimes you miss an entry point by 30 seconds. You know, it's half the game, you know, because there's a big wick. Boop. And so copy trading is very difficult. So that's why everyone's unique. And when he says you have to develop your own skills, it really is that. You can't just come in and follow a checklist, because if you could follow a checklist and just make money, the markets wouldn't work at all, because everybody would be doing the same thing, and just no market functions that way. People have to be doing their own thing, and that's why you get ups and downs, 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 ups, 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 downs, 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 moon, rug, ups, ups, down, down. That's how that works, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you should stick with us and learn.
So going back into the market here real quick. So let's go ahead and look at a couple things here, because I think it's really important. So ICP, like I said, I talked about this lower area here. You've got a nice little, if you want to get a part of a liquidity push here, it's a nice little area that you can play. So if you look at it, this was a few weeks ago. Okay. And you can see here on May 31st, it was a Saturday. You can see here that they put a nice little wick against this, the body candle here. And so if we come down to this area here on ICP, again, that would be the bottom part of the wick at the very bottom on Saturday the 31st. And if you look at it, this is going to be a weekly as well as, oh, I thought it was a monthly. Okay, it was my bad. It's just a weekly. So you're going to have a nice little play here. If we get down to this lower area here, you're going to have a decent amount of liquidity that's going to be triggered here. And so you should be able to play that pretty well off of this level on whatever futures platform you're trading. So that's a nice little trade to kind of put in the background there. And then kind of as soon as it triggers, put a little thing on your little, what do they call it, notice on your platform saying we've hit this area here. Go ahead and check this out. And then again, this allows you to be able to sit there and see, okay, this is where I want to get in. And again, I talk about ways that you can get in on these trades that make it advantageous for you. I'm a huge proponent on being smart when it comes to you going through and not over leveraging. Okay, small amount leverage, compound interest is the strongest thing on the face of the earth. every win, right? Keep just growing your wins, and you have a sizable account over a period of 2, 3, 4 years. But the key is just doing the right thing over and over. So I like this area here. You can see here as well. Where was the other? Was it Uni? Shoot, no, it wasn't. Uniswap, by the way. I've been loving me some Uni. Going through, kind of watching them. I think this is going to be another one that is still going to be around under the Trump administration, especially with what they're doing. They have so much volume that correlates through their decks that I just can't see it going away.
Oh my God, no! I mean, it's massive. It's like all of Ethereum. I mean,
literally. And in addition to that, because they are willing to work with the Trump administration and what they're trying to do, it's just sorry.
And you can't stop us from using it.
Yes.
I mean, you just can't. I mean, you can try, but people are going to FOMO into the projects they want, and if they say, well, Uniswap has to ban people from the U.S., they'll just use VPNs like everything else.
Uniswap has to what?
People will just use VPNs to get to Uniswap if the U.S. blocks it, or they block it themselves, saying no U.S. IP addresses. Okay, click.
Yeah, it's just not. I just think they're a large structure within crypto that you just have to play along with it, and if you don't, it's like taking Goldman Sachs away in the stock market. That's how much of a structural force they are in relationship to DeFi, right? And so, maybe in 20, 30 years, 40 years, that might change, but they've just been since the beginning here, and they have they're a juggernaut in DeFi. So that's why this down period here of like the $5-4, we talked about this area coming almost a year ago, man. We talked about hitting this area here a year ago. So we came and tapped this a few months ago, and then you can see here, I picked up a little here, picked up again a little bit here. And so we've seen it now kind of play off. So Uniswap, there you guys go, check it out. I like them. But I think these areas of $7, I think when we see the push for the next altcoin season, again, I'm a huge proponent in this altcoin season. When it pushes up, I'm going to tell you guys, get out. Like if you made, I would say, 70, if you've made 10,000%, 15,000%, right, on your products here that you've bought, get out, take the hit on the taxes. But listen, that is going to help you out in the near future, especially that you could actually go through and diversify your income from crypto into literally DeFi or into stocks, right? I'm a huge proponent in diversifying your portfolio, not just from crypto, but we're already seeing a lot of Circle has literally opened up, or it went public. Obviously, Coinbase is public. I see a lot of these major indexes here in crypto going public. And so from there, you can also buy those indexes as well as Google, buying Tesla. And we talk about a lot of these stocks here, as well as the S&P 500, right? I talked about buying the S&P 500 when it was selling off. I said we could, when it came down to that, they're almost 30%. I said buy some here because they've got a good price. Right. I thought we were going to continue down, but I said it was a good place to buy at these low prices, right? Or at least that's what I was looking at. And so I was saying, hey, this is what I'm doing, guys. And so we talked about that sell-off now for almost 2 years because of the Biden economics that he had actually placed forth in regards to the jobs and the government jobs and private jobs, which we go over a lot here as well. So all you new guys that are new here, I go over a lot of traditional stuff that if you go back and you look at a lot of our old shows, you'll sit there and see this sell-off that we saw a few months ago was something that I was expecting to see. So it was one of those moments that when it comes to this current market right now and altcoins, I believe we're going to see a large altcoin rise here. And so at these places, when we see it, I'm telling you, get out. Like like let's talk about Uniswap here. If I get 1,000x, right, from 5 to 45, okay, if I see this thing get up to, let's say, from 45 to 100 potentially, right?
Take your money and run. There's going to be a pullback.
I'm not going to take all of it, but I'm going to take probably 60% of that trade, 70% of that trade, what I normally do. And then I'm going to diversify that into more stable income, right? And so if we have another huge inflation situation, right, where all of a sudden the government goes on major spending again, you're going to be able to manage that inflation, because inflation helps those who own assets. Best assets to own is either stock market or you own a giant piece of property
that somebody else wants to buy.
Yeah, that somebody wants to buy. There you go.
There's lots of property nobody wants to buy. Love Canal.
I'm talking
3 Mile Island.
Right. Good point. But this is what I'm trying to say is you want to own assets. So in case we keep continuing in this idea of spending the U.S. economy, the U.S. government spending our money, you want to be positioned in a way so that you can capitalize on inflation. And then you can ride that up, right? This is important to understand. If you're not taking and paying attention to that and you're selling off your assets and diversifying, then you potentially, because I always say, if this thing skyrockets up, one thing about crypto is it's deflationary, and that's what we want. You want price to go up and then come back down. We have cycles set up specifically by Satoshi Nakamoto to sit there and say, look, it's going to go up, then it's going to come down. You're going to see consolidation period, and you're going to see another increase. And so in that same sense, I want you guys ready for those moments. And that's why we position at these levels. I was preaching, don't buy up here. Again, these little things are super important. So I like Uniswap. It's another one I think is not going away for a while, unless they're idiots and they're running their books like Mr. Bankman. But I don't think that's the way it's happening. They've been solid. So I think it's going to be good. The other one that I've been looking at, and we've talked about this, is Tesla. We've been looking at Tesla because Tesla has been a huge sell-off. Recently, we've seen them actually pull back and starting to continue up. So it's really interesting to see them actually rebounding. I thought we were going to go lower, but we didn't. So I'm a little mad that I didn't buy up at these lower levels. I thought we were going to go down and test that 155 area again, but they didn't. They held strong.
For a while, I was playing the Tesla options on my Robinhood app. Those were so fun. I mean, I wouldn't play them for much money. I'd pick way out of the money stuff that you could buy a whole contract of options for $50, and but they all moved with price. The market wasn't very liquid way out there, but with Tesla, there are some people trading almost every option you can think. And so you'd look at your option, you'd say you pay $50 for it, and then you'd turn this way and go do something, come back, and it's $250, and you're like, whoo! And then before you hit that sell button, it's $25. You're like, it's like, it's just 1 second late. And then you go, so then you end up like, all right, I sold it at a loss, whatever, had fun. And then you come back and it's a $250 again. You're like, damn it. It's
as long as you're making money, I'm not really. I mean, I that's Tom's expertise here. He was an option.
No, this was part of the. Remember my toilet series of trades?
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah, that's what we. That's what we. You trade the hot stocks with the massive volume, their options on the crapper, and whoever can make the most money during their crapper session.
Guys, he had a group of guys that they would all hang out and trade and play these trades.
And while we're on the commode.
Yes. But also let's look at Meta here. Meta's been coming out with some really dope stuff here as well. AI, I think what Apple talked about when they released their paper last week. I know there's been a lot of controversy, but I play with these programs all the time. I mess with them. And I think there's a lot of validity to what they were saying about AI. It's just really good at guessing the next word. But it's not sentient. We're not at AGI. And this big push of saying this AGI is, I think they're right on. There's many times I have to sit there and correct all my AIs in relationship to political moves, and
you accuse them of outright lying.
I do. I do.
Pedro sent me one conversation about one topic, and it's like Pedro says, "Bro, why are you lying to me?" I'm like, he's typing to when I type to AI, I type in very particular, articulate words so they know exactly the context I'm looking. Pedro's like, "Yo, bro, why are you lying to me?" You lying. You even never met Dr. Martin Luther the King. Pick the movie quote, guys.
That's funny.
Or actually comedian quote, I should say.
Yeah, that's a comedian. But jumping back here real quick, because we can go, I don't want to detour. So what's really important here is that I think Apple hit a good point. Watching what Meta is doing, especially with, they know exactly what you're typing, exactly. They're basically the good version of TikTok here in America. I don't agree with TikTok. I think I've made this extremely public in front of everybody here and on other type of platforms, that TikTok is, I believe, a spy mechanism that China has set up and made it extremely addicting and gotten a lot of people. I've mentioned this since literally COVID. Dang it. This evasive sickness started, right? And so that idea is, I think it's real important to pay attention to. Meta's set up in a way where they are creating products with the glasses. They're creating literally their own internet system, much like Starlink. And so I'm going to be playing and looking to really pick up. So any type of real sell-offs for Meta, I'm definitely looking to play and pick up. It's probably a matter of time before they do go through and split again.
Homie, don't play that.
I think they'll split.
I'm just full of Friday lines here. Sorry, Pedro.
You are. Homie, don't play that.
Homie, don't play that.
Fire. No, that's not Fire Marshal Bill. Dude, you keep
same show.
Yeah.
Same show.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Okay, focus. Come on. If I do, we will keep. Dude, I remember he was so good. And all right, focus, dog. Focus. Come on, you're killing me here, Smalls. Good movie too.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Okay. Meta. But I do expect to see a bit of a sell-off here coming. They really push pretty hard here. We might have a leg up here, but just watching the actual volume step down here at these levels, the big push up here as we're watching, but you can see how the volume is kind of stepped down. So I would expect us to kind of come back down, test these lows here. And then I think around here is probably where they'll sit there, split their stock, and then push back up to that next leg up. So be ready for that, guys. For Meta, and I think that will probably be around that 480 area, 426 area. So be ready for that. And if they do split their stock, I would assume they'll probably split it at 10-1, so that they can make it affordable for people to purchase it at $40, right? So if you're on your Robinhood, you're like, oh, Meta's finally $40, boom, right? Even though you could buy it right now with again, forgive me for coughing in your ear, but Meta, you can buy right now with micro shares on Robinhood. Most people don't realize that, so they think, oh no, I gotta buy this, right? But in reality, you can still buy it. But
the crypto people are used to buying micro shares down to 0.0018 decimals, 1 cent. They're used to that, and they need to offer it in stocks because Facebook. A lot of companies let their stock price get really high before they split it. And that pushes their options prices higher. That pushes their stock price higher. And all the youngsters coming in, be like, I just want to buy $25 worth.
Yep. So I think this is just cool. All right. So the other thing I'm looking at here, now we talked about our good old friend here, Ethereum. Ethereum actually hit one of our areas here. Actually, no, it did not. Is that a weekly? I think it's the weekly. Yeah, so we actually played this. So this is actually dead here. I was perusing through this real quick before the show. Yeah, we already played that, so that's good. Next one that we're playing here that we're kind of waiting on Ethereum is to come back down for that monthly area here, which is going to be at that 23.19 to that 23.44 area here on Ethereum for the next leg. Kind of wait for it to kind of come down. If it comes down, again, this will be a liquidity play. You can play this on your futures account, whoever you use, so you can wait for it to come down and then pop back up. Again, I would expect it to come back up and test these high here. This week played really nicely into our hands. We talked about this coming up into that 2 area. We talked about it coming up from here. This was back here on Wednesday, May 25th. And we talked about it going up, tapping into this area. It's taking a minute for it to kind of come up there, but you can see here since then we saw it go from 1800 all the way up to that 2800, 1,000 points up, and now we're starting to see it pull back. So I would expect to see it next week to see a similar play that I talked about Bitcoin coming in, where it would basically come in, come down, hit the liquidity right here, and then see it go back up and see something at that point. So get ready for that play so you guys can make some money. On top of that, you have that 50 period moving average on the daily. So kind of expect some type of pullback to get orders here for you guys. Alrighty, that's a good little play for you guys.
Get them orders.
Get them orders.
Get the liquidity, make the fat bank.
Make it a fat bank. Pepe, I have seen Pepe all over the place. Have you been seeing it? Do you know anything about Pepe and what's been actually happening there?
They've enjoyed some decent liquidity, volatility, and so the traders been playing it. It moved up and it moved down. I've been watching people trade Pepe on the futures markets and on the perpetuals markets. I'm trying to bring them up right now and do pretty well. Because of, as they say, as the liquidity. Why is the SPX? There we go. Pepe is up now, right? There we go. It's up to once again at a $4.5 billion market cap. Obviously, in the past month, it spiked up big time when many other things did in the beginning of May. And as you can see, there's been some pretty good volatility in it. And on the futures markets, that just those up and downs there on Pepe. And a lot of these altcoins, because their value is lower, smaller price moves mean bigger moves in your leverage and stuff like that. So people were making some big monies. Now remember, futures markets are essentially a zero-sum game. And for everyone that's making the big money, someone's losing the big money. Or lots of people losing a little bit of money. And to be honest, as you know, Pedro, the institutional money is in the bigger tokens, in Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, that type of stuff, because they can trade it in institutional places. And Pepe is not really on the radar of JP Morgan and BlackRock and that type of stuff. And so essentially in Pepe, you're trading against the big market makers and other retail people. So it's easier for it to move a lot. And so thus, traders like to play it because they can make big gains. They can also make big losses because it's a zero-sum game.
So
it's quite popular, though. I mean, it's very popular.
Yeah, so we actually watched Pepe here. Now, I thought we were going to shoot up from here at that next level, that 402. You can see we kind of put some stagnation here. We had good volume coming in, so I thought we were going to continue up. We did fall through here. So the next level here that they're probably going to come down to is that 100 period moving average, which is sitting at 50946. And if it falls through here, then the next level is 2 areas, and you guys can play this as a liquidity play as well as an area for you to be able to kind of buy in. So there's a liquidity play right here, which means liquidity play means that you take a quick trade. This is like a potentially from an hour trade to a day trade at the most, and you're out right here. And you typically try to play this on your futures trading so that you can make a quick buck from here. I went over that type of trade earlier today on our show, but this is that type of play. We come down, we hit that, and this is a similar play at this level of that 100 period. And so a moving average for me acts more like a dynamic liquidity area, where this is where institutions go in and they fill up their bags. And so that 100 period is sitting at 50946 area on Pepe. And in addition to that, also that 50758 area that we could potentially come back to and then pick up. So if you guys are pro Pepe and you are like 100% let's go Pepe, these are the areas that I'm really looking for to see kind of pick up area to pick up more Pepe. So that's it for Pepe. And let's go over one more else. Oh no, man, these guys breaks my heart. It's a big old, anyways, is it XLM? No, not Stellar. I thought I had it. Where's Monero? I thought I had put on
XMR?
Yeah, that was like, where's XMR?
I just ran them a few minutes ago through the pricing.
Right. There we are, XMR. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. All right, so XMR has been kind of playing off of these areas here. Now, we talked about XMR, this play back at the beginning of the year in right here when we were sitting around that 155 area. We talked about because there were news coming out about them and they had beat their, what was it? Their lawsuit case that was getting played by them, and I said, all right guys, this is going to be a good play. I actually went on the Zach Humphries show on X and I said, hey look Zach, this might be a good play for you to play, playing Tornado Cash, because that's what it was. Tornado Cash had beat their lawsuit against the SEC and things were dropped, and because of that, right, I said it hadn't really moved yet, and I said it's going to move. When we were sitting around this area here, I talked about how we had been consolidating all through here, and basically it was setting up a position for it to go up. So our positions that we were looking to really see is for it to go up to this level here, pull back, and then come back up at this level here, and then pull back, right? And this was the play. Obviously it went better than what we expected. When it did explode, I told Zach, I said, because they had missed it, and I said, listen, don't get in right here. You can wait for the pullback to get back in at that 173, 166 area, and you can decide how you want to play it. And so you see it right here, play it in. Now you would have had to hold on to this for a while, but again, I talked about this trade being traded on the perpetuals, right? So you could actually take advantage of the trade itself. Now you could have made good money from here and catching it to the 420 area, which is, by the way, as if some stoner was literally some major hedge fund guy was sitting there going like 420, dude. But shout out to this big push here though. So we saw it come up, push up, boom, kind of selling off. So with this, that's going to move some of these areas here, and it played really, really well. I mean, it really, you could see the fact is that when it hit this area right here and it came back, it held strong. So this is an area here that I'm still looking to play for XLM. The other part behind it that I'm looking for is this area right here. So this pull back into this level for XLM is a good play. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with actually, Tom, do you mind talking about XLM so I can set this up real quick? What they do, what they're about.
XLM?
Monero. They're a...
No, it's XMR.
Sorry. Why do I keep saying XLM? XMR. My brain is just like...
Yeah, they're close. Anyway, Monero is a privacy coin, ladies and gentlemen. One of the first ones made, might even be the first proper privacy coin. It's a proof of work token or coin. People run miners around. One of our good viewers, Chuck Jansen, is a Monero miner. And If you mine Monero and get them, there's no record anywhere of you owning them. And so people around the world have liked that because they've essentially been able to get turn the value of their electricity and their computers into a digital token called Monero. And there's no record that they own it because their blockchain is encrypted. That's not to say other people have said it's not as private as they would like, and people have come up with new ones. But Monero's been around for a long time, and they have a massive community of people that are diehard users. And unlike Bitcoin, Monero actually has, a dedicated vendor group of people that only accept Monero, or at least prefer it, especially amongst their community. And their community is largely developers. Let me rephrase that. Gig workers gig work isn't the right word. Freelancers, people that work for themselves in coding, computer development, IT, all that type of stuff. People that started out as the nerd group, that's like mining this secret token type stuff. And then it grew into larger versions of their larger community than that. But they have their own little economy going there, and it's one of the rare tokens in which people pay each other in it. And obviously, I'm sure they link it to their home fiat to determine their value in their head of what it is and what it costs and what they charge people for. But it's been really interesting. A couple of locations have banned it, like the UAE said no privacy coins allowed because they're like, oh, and we can't track it. People brought up to the UAE regulator, say, oh, well, you still let cash circulate here in the UAE, and they're like, oh, well, that's different, it's cash. And they're like, no, it's not. And they're like, okay, well, cash won't be around very long. So anyway, Monero's been,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so Monero's been a big success within its community. It's had a tougher time breaking out because, frankly, Elizabeth Warren and crew and a couple other countries around the world put the thumb on people that have tried to convert Monero into stable coins. If there was an easy way to convert it, actually, let me rephrase that. If there was back in the day an easy way to convert it, Monero would have stayed. It would never have stayed small. It would have exploded. But the governments did a great job of putting their thumb on it because, oh my God, it's just going to be terrorists and North Koreans using it, and graphic artists and coders and IT workers. Oh my God, it's terrible. And so they've ended up.
Really, the gig economy that used it. This was
the
biggest thing.
Yeah, the freelance work.
98% of it.
Yeah, they were just they like I said, the original people were the super nerds, early adopters, and then people around them started using it. People around them started using it, and it's that like us, we take payment for our services. There's no company or payroll or anything like that. Say, you want our services, pay us. And so Monero is very good for that. $5.7 billion market cap, not shabby at all. And its circulation's increasing because they mine it. I don't know if there's any burning mechanism or anything like that. I don't know the mechanics of it. All I know is that it's worth $312 and it used to be worth $1.
Well, we talked about this here back. We've been talking about Monero for almost 3 years. I mean, I've always said that they're not going away. The fact is that I can sit there. This is truly DeFi. If I think there's going to be, let's say coin-wise, right? Let's say America just completely inflates everything, and all of a sudden the US dollar, which I don't think anytime soon, right? But it just gets pushed out and the rest of the world doesn't want to use it anymore. There are going to be a few of these coins here that are going to be really important. I think Monero is going to be one of them. That, Tornado Cash, Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Yeah.
These ones are just, they're solid, they're great. Chainlink is another one that's a sleeper nobody talks about. But Link is one of those ones that you just need to, I think you should accumulate. People should be accumulating Link here. We talked about Link hitting back here and early when it was sitting at that $10 area. I said this is a great area. We saw it get up to $30. We pulled back. I thought we were going to hit this area here of that 22, but came back down. And now we're just kind of consolidating. But Link here is another good organization to be paying attention to.
Amazingly, they're under $1 billion now. in market cap.
Chainlink. Yeah.
That's amazing to me. That they should, Pepe's at $5 billion. I mean, they don't do anything except exchange frog emojis.
Literally. But this is what I'm trying to say is just the idea of a meme coin. But again, I don't feel as if I'm okay with it, because the truth is Chainlink is another one which is a structural organization within crypto. The other one, DOT is another one that people are sleeping on. I feel like that you need to be paying attention to. We were talking about this when it was at.
I don't have that in my list.
And we've talked about DOT quite a bit.
I know. I don't even have it in my note. Strange.
All right, so you can see right here we came down into our area again, back in this level here, and I've been waiting for it to kind of come back down into that $1 area, $2, $1 area here. So we'll see if it follows through. But DOT is another one that is just an OG. Some people call
I forget what's it short for, DOT. I'm trying to look at. Oh, it's polka dot.
Polka dot. Yeah.
There we go. It showed up on the graphic machine over there.
Yeah. Polka dot is just a solid. It's another structural organization within crypto, much like Uniswap or Chainlink. It's just what they do is legit. So it's sooner or later they make cash. I think we're going to see a hybrid coin stock situation where, let's say you own 40 coins at X amount, your average cost is this. I think sooner or later you're going to have a stock coin new market that will probably be developed here soon. I know it's already being developed, but it hasn't really caught on yet. So we'll see what happens that correlates with it. I think it's smart for the new administration to create something for that, because it would be a great additional product to bring into the market to add more diversity to the market. So I think it's really important. Oh, who just said something? Striking balls. Adios. Oh, who's leaving us?
No, that was it's keeping the Twitch chat running there.
Oh, I got you.
We've had some people over there watching us on Twitch today, so.
Oh, nice. Real people or just fake or scammers?
No, I haven't had any of the scammers, amazingly.
Oh, really? Well, glad to have you guys over on Twitch. Thank you for coming in. Look, if you guys have any questions, any concerns, please come into our community. But stay on Twitch. We've been trying to grow Twitch now for a while. If you could share out Twitch to all your friends, I'd appreciate it. I give real advice, real stuff for you guys to make money. This isn't me trying to show my own. I don't have an educational system. I think that's BS. And we are going to start giving little trades here, but that's simply just to make sure Tom starts making money at doing this, so his wife can stop yelling at him. And so, but again, if we could get, 200-300 people paying, $3-4, $5 for that.
Would be nice.
That would be nice for Tom. And nice little pocket change for me. So you can see here. So I like DOT. I like it down at the area here of 213 to 142. Also, I also like AVAX. AVAX here, I've been waiting for it. It has just been lagging on me. I'm like, bro, what's up with you? Bruh. So 19 area looking nice. We're not really seeing much volume come in or leave. It's just kind of stagnant here. You can see here it's just kind of the same thing over the last, since December. So you can see it just kind of came down and just been chilling here. Shout out to our boy Chris Alexander. My bad, dog. I thought we were gonna go up, my dude, and I forgot to mention that and say, dude, my bad about continuing up. We hit that 55, but
I went back down below where he was holding it before. Oops.
Yeah. No, he got in. I believe he got in around $9, right? When he originally got in on it, $9 or $10, I believe.
Huh.
So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. But again, you can be picking up some. There's a lot of stuff going on within the AVAX community. They got a lot of stuff headed on. I like it. I really like it down at that $11 mark again. If we can get down there, that'd be great. But I think this area here is a good area here potentially to be there.
I'd be interested to see how much money or income or fees or however you measure it on that blockchain is generated from the state of California using Avalanche for its DMV. Title ownership, tracing, and all that type of stuff. I'd be very interested to see, because I've been, you hear me talk about Ripple and XRP a lot and how they make their money, and I've been trying to quantify, when they sign up customers, do they spend more money acquiring the customer than they'll ever earn from it, And so, blockchain transactions are fairly cheap. So I would like to, if anyone of you 19 viewers out there knows anything about this, let us know. And I'm sure Jesus would pipe up about it because he sells cars in California. But I'd love to learn more about how Avalanche earns their money from the state of California.
I think one of the things I think it's really interesting is I would love to check Newsom's. He's been in the news lately.
How that guy got elected. I mean, he's you thought John Kerry a long time ago was a flip-flopper? This Newsom, he flip-flops in the same sentence. Oh, yes, I really love, I'm not against for that, yes, no, but maybe, and yeah, right on, no. I mean, you watch him, he's a professional say-nothing guy. He's so good at it.
It sounds like he says stuff. That's how good he is. Listen, I have to admit, watching this whole entire thing between him and Trump and watching him saying, won't you come and get me? Right? Like, I was literally going, this is so literally sixth grade. Meet me outside in the...
You can't break the law. I mean, you just can't break it. If you break it, you don't get to say, oh, I'm a governor, so I can break it, unless you pardon yourself or something like that. And if you're a senator, you can't break the law either. That idiot for the Democrats that ran into the press conference and the security guy, he didn't have his Senate badge on, he didn't have anything on. The security guys don't know who they were, and you can hear him on video saying, I'm Senator, I don't know what the hell his name was, Jose Padilla or something. And
it was actually really weird, right?
And they're like, well, he identified himself and all. Do you know how many crackpots run into meetings and say, I'm the mayor, I'm the president of the United States? And the security guys, they're just, they're just agents. They don't know who random senators for right. And he comes in and he's all argumentative and this type of stuff. What do you think the security guys are going to do? They're going to be like, get this guy out of here, because it doesn't matter who the Department of Homeland Security director is or secretary is. They get a security detail because there's crazy people out trying to kill them. And so the security guy's going to do what it said. They say, sir, you have to leave. And not only that, they say, oh, but he said who he was. Pedro, have you ever been on a podium addressing a crowd?
Yes.
You can't hear what they say.
No, you cannot. Yeah.
And that's why they pass around microphones for people to talk at those things. Because if someone says, I'm a senator, and there's commotion and stuff, there's no way you can hear that. If Kristi Noem had recognized the senator from the back, which she probably didn't, because there's a bunch of them, she probably has no idea who most of them are, and said, oh, I can hear you, so let the senator go, whatever. But she's talking and, and she wears heels, but she's down like this behind the podium, and way down there's a senator scruffling to get in. These morons.
I think it was one of those moments. It was definitely, I felt like he was purposely trying to make himself relevant.
Yeah,
I was trying to make him more than what it was supposed to be. And it kind of saddens me, because the fact is that he can go to his constituents and say, yes, I was doing this, and this is what happened, and this is from the Trump regime, draconian policies. This is what I actually had experienced, and I stood up against. I feel like there's a lot of these type of situations that are currently happening to really make them relevant to their local areas here, so they can sit there and say, yeah, I'm trying to stand up against what's happening. And it kind of makes me upset, because it's like they use the common working man to just as an example. Yeah.
Sorry if you just heard some feedback. I just hit the wrong button.
No, you're good. Yeah. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Because I feel like as if there are these movements right now specifically, and I feel like it's like you said, and you nailed it to a good example. Oh shoot, sorry.
My thoughts on it are that the Democratic Party are doing a poor job of messaging once again. If you recall a few weeks ago or months ago, whatever it was, all of a sudden everyone in the Democratic Party was on the news calling someone a dick.
Literally.
Like, you were like, wait a minute, you've never heard that ever. Then all of a sudden everyone in the party were like, he's a dick. It's like when they tried to label Vance as weird. Well, he's just weird.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the whole party was doing that. And you're like, wait a minute. First of all, it doesn't sound genuine when they all do it at once. Or use the exact same words. So they've got a marketing, or a head evil person running the organization and the messaging. And the same thing lately, you've seen them all of a sudden they're like, all right, everyone has to go out and get arrested and be argumentative. Even Maxine Waters was out there trying to break into the detention center. First of all, she's 312 years old. She's about this tall. Hey, let me in. And she's out there like, they're, blah, 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 blah.
That was good.
She's never even been seen in public except in her district, for a carefully crafted campaign event.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're all running around and this guy comes in and he's like, and you're like, come on, man. You look like, you ever see those videos of like either in Taiwan or Korea when the legislative parliament guys start fighting each other? They get in a fight.
That's real though.
I know. I know that's real, and you're like all of a sudden you feel like you're in an Asian country where like
yeah. Well, what I thought was so interesting is when you watch those guys in and other cultures, right? They are like, it's real, dude. Like they're like grabbing necks. You see blood pulling out. You're like, holy crap, dog. Like, and this is on like the Senate floor. This is on like that the House's floor where you're like
going at it.
It really is, right? But here it's all just like you said perfectly. It's just staged, just to look like they're being relevant. And I just think it just looks like trash. Also, here, and let's just throw this out. Just in, Israel threatens to strike Iran oil and gas refiners. So this just came out here. A few messages crossed along my stuff here. With that said, we should be talking about crude oil and the potential play here that we could be playing. So you can see here that we saw a huge rally up. And we came up to our supply area that we talked about here. Now, again, we've talked about this play here for almost 7 months now, since January 6th. Actually, yeah, it was around right here, January 6th. Where are we at? January. Oh, 23. I was like, wait, what? That does not look correct. 2025. Here we go. January 6th, around this area, I talked about oil coming back down from 78 all the way down to that 55 area here.
Look at that spike. Woof.
Yeah, well, I expected to sustain this area, but look at this. I said if the market continues to go up, we go long on crude oil. We're not going to.
And missiles going through people's front doors helps push that price up.
Exactly. So you can see here that this pushing a lot of price up. So we're going to remove some of this stuff here. This area here again acted as resistance, but the fact is that we have so much inconsistency in the world right now, and we're gonna see crude oil start to pick up even more. I mean, if we keep going along this route, we could see a crude oil back up to that 89 to 88. So be ready. The only back end here is this was a huge push up over the week. I mean, we literally see it skyrocket in here. So with that, kind of wait for a pullback for it to come back down and test potentially that 50 period on the weekly. There's going to be that 70 area, potentially 68 to 65 area here, but that 70 to 60 area, if we keep seeing this escalate and keep going, like I said, I'd expect us to get back up to that 80, 90 dollar a barrel. And so it'd be a nice little play here. We'll be going over that trade here as if it continues up, and really allow you guys to be able to take part in crude oil. Again, you can trade crude oil through what do you call? Here we go. Here we are. CL College. I think this is it right here. US dollar. You can play it here. This is it's called PYTH.
No, that's Colgate Palmolive.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Where is oil? Maybe I need to put oil.
You might need to type crude.
Yeah.
Well, there's Brent and the futures on Python. Yeah, there you go. You got West Texas and Brent.
There we go. Yeah, so you guys can play this here for crude oil. This is WTI, which is on Pyth futures. It's a crypto place. You can play this here, and you can get here, be part of this. Again, it's not traded with a lot of volume. A lot of these like crypto, it's traditional finance. They're kind of merging traditional finance with the blockchain.
Well, it's mostly day traders because they can use the same platform. And the institution guys aren't trading on it. They're trading on the mercantile exchange and so forth. But Pedro, I got a question about, or maybe not a question, maybe an opinion about crude, is that we're in the 60s right now, and you're talking about hopefully going back, or not hopefully, but pushing up into the 80s. And
I don't want it to go in the 80s because then it puts America kind of in.
Well, hold on. There is an argument for that. Right now, where it is, that it costs American producers in the high 50s to pull a barrel of oil out of the ground or something like that. Whatever it is, it's not cheap. It's not like the old days when it was $19. It's expensive, and they're making money. It's okay. It's fine. But what it's preventing is all the, when Trump said drill, baby, drill, it's preventing not only the operations of pumping, but adding the infrastructure costs of drilling new wells on top of it to make an expanded supply. And so if the price goes up into the 80s for a while, it's not bad because it allows the oil industry to make a bunch of money that they can put into infrastructure. And everyone says, the oil industry has so much money, they're just got billions that we don't care. But most of the drilling is not gigantic, massive companies. There are tons and tons of small operations all over Texas, Oklahoma, Alberta, all these places that when the price gets too low, they're just like, we ain't got no money to fix the bearing on the pump here. And so a little bit of a price up isn't bad for the short term. They get some cash in, get a new bank loan, build their infrastructure, increase the supply, and then bring the price down. And then it really helps us and puts the pressure on Russia and crude. But the timing for that, I think, obviously is outside of my knowledge base of when that would be good. But I do know that the American oil guys, they need the money to build the infrastructure, and they're not selling these things for the oil industry doesn't sell the gas anymore at the pump. Shell got rid of all their gas stations, BP got rid of they're all franchised out, and their business doesn't rely on making money selling it to you. That's the local convenience store now sells all the gas. And so these small time think of the movie, what is it when they go to space? When Bruce Willis goes to space, Armageddon. He's an oil driller and they need someone to go up into space and drill a meteor open so it doesn't come an asteroid and kill the Earth, something like that. Great feel-good American style movie. But he was the epitome of the oil industry. He was a local guy, ran a small company that drilled for oil on contract for all the big players. And when the price gets too low, they ain't got no work. And when the price goes up, they can buy new rigs and invest. And so there's that there's that fine point in this crude oil business in which to get more supply, unfortunately, the price has to go up and hurt the other Americans and enrich the Russians for us to, before we can drive the price down with more supply coming to the market in a few years.
I'd agree. One of the things I do bring up here is we talked about it starting to push up here over the last few weeks. And I was shocked to see that we just blew through the 200 period moving average yesterday, though. I thought we would have definitely kind of played off of it and kind of come down. But watching it just gap up yesterday and kind of come down, I was like, okay, there we go. But this morning, it was almost as if there was a play here, like they knew something was going to happen, and somebody capitalized on it, and we're talking potentially hundreds of billions of dollars was made off of this play over the last. I mean, look at it right here. This is where the position was put in. You can see they kind of consolidated right here, and then I said, well, show some strength there.
Well,
we saw it kind of go.
When did the
here.
planning start for this attack on Iran?
I don't know.
Where that position building. How many people knew about that attack? Insiders. How many Nancy Pelosi's are there in either our government, the Israeli government? I mean, obviously the U.S. knew it was coming because we evacuated embassies. Said, well, we better get those guys out of Iraq. Why? Next day.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, we did remove those guys out, and then there was my question. All right, keep going.
I was just to say, they give advance warning, and some embassy staffer says they don't even have to know what's going on. The embassy staffer says we got to send the family home and any non-essential personnel. That means they know there's trouble coming, and when trouble comes in the Middle East, the price of oil goes up.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy.
How it works. Yeah, absolutely. So it was real interesting. Once we started seeing, like you said, it probably would have been about a month ago. I mean, this was in May.
Ooh.
It looks like the beginning of May, mid-May, and you can see here right into June, we just started seeing it pick up. I mean, from 62 to 70, we're talking, that's almost 80 points there. That's 20 points in a matter of 2 weeks. And on a crypto future, not a crypto future, but on a traditional, what am I looking for? CME future. You can see here that each cent that it moves is $10 per contract, or in the layman terms, per stock. So every time it moves up 1 cent, that's $10. So if you have 2 contracts, 2 stocks, every time it moves up 1 cent, that's $20. So the idea of just, let's say, 1 stock or 1 contract going from $60 to $80 potentially.
Big money.
It's 20 times, it's 20, 30, or 20, 200, 2,000 times.
It could be $525 a tick. And you got, how many ticks did you have in there? Yeah.
So that's $20,000 per contract. Yeah. And so when you start to see it consolidating right here, and they knew it, you're talking, there was probably maybe 100,000 contracts probably put in there.
Oil market's a big and very liquid market.
Yeah, easily. I mean, some guy was like,
someone made a fortune.
Yeah, and if you're Israel, Israel, they have no qualms in trading this market.
Right.
Maybe like
their spy agencies had their front companies in Europe and stuff like that, buying that stuff, and they're like, they probably just funded their military for the whole next year just on buying calls on June delivery of oil. Or what's the next contract? September.
I'm actually trying to think. So from a call standpoint, if you were to play this, you got to add an extra zero. So you're talking for every contract that would literally be $200,000 per contract on a call that they would have made per contract. And they buy 10, 20, just at a lock. Like 100, like nobody's, like, it's like, oh, we maybe put 200, 100 lots here, boom, boom, boom.
I used to see him when I was a runner on the mercantile exchange. The printer would print it up on triplicate paper, and it would say, anything up to, I think I've told you a story before, anything up to a certain amount went to a certain desk, like 10 contracts or something like that. Then if it was big, usually the big ones didn't come on the printer, they came by phone, but every once in a while you'd look at this and be like, this shit says 100 contracts of oil here, and all people pay attention, they're like, shh, can't say anything because the word will get out to the floor. But then the guys would
everybody.
see me working the way to the fat guy in the center that was our large contract broker, and they'd know an order was coming.
Dude, you were hawked. You're like a big booty white girl walking down the
They're like, here comes a little white kid from Jersey.
Dude,
here he comes. That means I wish I could remember the broker's
clocked.
name. But
Everywhere you went, you were clocked, and they knew exactly.
well, I could run around the floor and do other things. I have like one contract for sugar and nobody cared, or whatever. But if I was worming my way through the pit, and they didn't really want runners to come into the pit because you're supposed to signal that kind of stuff in. But our management just didn't like us signaling the interns. They're like the interns were like, that's not a good plan for you guys. So they'd see us interns coming into the pit. They'd be like, big order, and they would want to front run it. So they, I told you, one guy tried to pay me. Say, just give me a signal whether it's a buy or sell. And I'm like, do you know how much trouble I'm going to get in if I do that? Yeah, right. Literally go to jail. Happy Friday, Rolling Rod. You're catching us at the end of the show here. In fact, we're beyond the time, Pedro. I have to get going here. I got the in-laws coming in here in a little bit. Ironically, you know what's funny today, Pedro? I'm in Ottawa, Ontario. Both Mrs. Striking and Mrs. Striking's parents are in Toronto. I was up at 4 this morning taking Mrs. Striking to the airport. She's got a business event there all day. And they're both coming back here for the weekend separately. I've got one group, the in-laws driving in, so I got to go prepare and get them a parking spot. Apparently, I have a long to-do list from Mrs. Striking, which includes laundry, cleaning, the vacuuming. There's a bunch of. Thank God this joint isn't that big. It's only 1,200 square feet or so, and so get it done real quick. And I need to get going on that list because I also have to go to the store and buy stuff.
Okay.
If I can get it all done, it'll be amazing.
My prayers will be with you because I don't want you getting tar and feathered by the old ball and chain there. So, no offense, just joking. T, just playing. Dude, great show. I think we had today. Went over a bunch of good trades. I'm kind of waiting to see what's going to happen here because we're transitioning into the up part of Bitcoin for the month here. So I would expect us to see kind of push up here for Bitcoin. Ethereum, like I talked about, a similar thing. We gave some quick little trades here for H&T, not CPI, ICP, and then looked over a couple other things here for Uniswap. I kind of wanted to go over, we went over Crow here, but ultimately I'm really kind of getting things ready for next week because next week we have a lot of kind of news coming up and we're going to finish it off here for this month. So it's going to be really interesting as we come into the summer. Are we going to have just a kickbuster summer, or are we going to have a dead summer? So I'm kind of waiting and seeing what's going to be here. It's going to show me in the next week to 2 weeks here. So watch and see.
Well, I hope we have I don't know what the term you used, kickbuster summer?
Gangbang. What is it?
Gangbangs. The gangbang.
No. The gangbuster. There you go. Gangbusters.
Gangbusters.
Boo. Gangbuster. There we go. You guys can tell I'm just the knucklehead here. I'm a good old boy, knuckle boy. Not a knuckle dragger. So.
I don't know what. Hold on, I gotta hit. I don't know if anyone else can hear the outro music. I can, but I don't think it's making it through to the stream. Nope, it is. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the day once again, in which we have to say goodbye. I know you're all so sad. There's still 21 people watching us. I'm sure none of them are Pedro and I's browsers. But anyway, thanks everyone. We had a good week here. We streamed. I think we were up close to 11 hours of streaming this week. 5 days of a little bit more than 2 hours each day. That's good. Read a couple of ads for Rumble. Talked a lot about what's going on in the market, the news in the market, educated you guys a little bit. And the good news is that we'll be back next week doing the same thing. So ladies and gentlemen, as they say. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media universe. The man next to me in the box, Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. I want to thank Pedro for a great week of analyzing the market and bringing the alpha to our viewers. Next week, we're going to rinse and repeat and make the fat stacks of cash. Anyway, we'll see you next week. We'll see you Monday. Be here.